Ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here. IAG, International Airlines Group, is a product of the EU. We are a multinational, multi-brand airline group, registered in Spain, listed on the London and Spanish Stock Exchange. We are running the business from London. We have 6 principal airline brands operated by 8 airlines who are registered in the UK, Ireland, Spain and France. And we run our global business services from Krakow in Poland. We employ 60,000 people. Last year we flew over 100 million passengers. And I am Irish, and I voted to remain. It's a privilege of Irish residents in the UK that they get to vote, and I was pleased to do so. The EU should be proud, and I'm sure it is proud, of its achievements in relation to aviation. This Parliament has argued long and hard to uphold the right of free movement, a core principle of the EU. And although we as an industry have not yet provided you with free travel, although I'm sure Michael is working hard to achieve that, we have provided you with affordable, cheap and extensive air links that has facilitated the free movement of people, goods and services across Europe. And it's not just the few who have benefited. Last year, over 900 million people flew into and out of the EU. It's estimated that figure will probably hit 1 billion people this year. Since the liberalisation and deregulation of the airline industry in 1993, we've seen greater competition, more choice, lower fares. The number of city pairs served in the EU has risen from...
Sorry for your slide.
You can ignore the slides. I didn't even know they were there. The number of city pairs served in the EU has risen from 692 to over 3,200 today. The number of intra-EU services, which have more than 2 airlines competing, has risen from 61 in 1993 to almost 650 today. The air transport industry supports economic activity in tourism and trade that's estimated to be valued at about 210 billion euros and supports 3.1 million jobs. 123 billion euros and 1.8 million jobs in the EU 27, representing about 1% of GDP, and a disproportionate benefit in the UK of about 87 billion and 1.3 million jobs. And since 2011, IAG has invested over $12 billion in Airbus aircraft, and as of today, we have outstanding orders valued in the order of $16 billion. And we expect those Airbus aircraft to be delivered to us with the wings attached, and the wings, as you know, are made in the UK. Now, aviation differs from most businesses in 3 prime areas. You've heard one of them. There is no WTO coverage of aviation. We are excluded from WTO rules, so there is no fallback to WTO. The airline industry still operates under an arcane system regulating the ownership and control, the effective control of airlines. And though there has been some movements to liberalise that, these rules still exist today. And importantly, from a third point of view, and particularly important for consumers, the airline industry typically sells our product 1 year in advance. And for these 3 reasons, we believe it is imperative that negotiators focus on our industry so that the 1 billion people who are expected to travel this year and next can continue to book with airlines, confident that the services they are booking will be provided by the airlines involved. We would argue that the system of international air service agreements provides a familiar, tried and tested framework, and this has predated the EU. We believe that the EU and the UK should sign a comprehensive air transport agreement similar to, but more open than those that are already in place between the EU, the US, Canada and others, recognising that there is a deeper relationship existing between the UK and the EU 27. And to maintain the consumer benefits, we believe that this agreement should go further and allow all airlines from the EU 27 and the UK all the freedoms of the air, so that they can continue to operate freely between and within each other's territories. It should also clarify that airlines in the UK and the EU 27 can continue to be owned by nationals of either party without the need for complex ownership and control structures being put in place. With policy support, it ought to be relatively straightforward to agree a deal on aviation that will be ready when the UK leaves the EU. We also believe that negotiators need to find a way to enable the UK to remain part of EASA. The UK contributes significantly to EASA, and I believe it is recognised within the industry that that contribution has significant benefits. We believe that 40% of non-EASA employees contributing to the work of the organisation are British, and that their contribution should continue. And we anticipate that a governance structure could be put in place that allows the UK to take full part, whether through a joint committee or some other form. Aviation is an industry that focuses on safety and security, and I don't believe it's in anybody's interest in the UK or in the EU 27 that we should weaken that or in any way seek to diminish the contribution that is being made by experts in this area. So while we recognise that there are significant challenges for all sectors, we believe that the challenges to aviation should be prioritised so that the benefits that have been so well recognised across Europe for consumers can be maintained. Thank you very much.